For tuning in this evening and with me this evening. This is a very, very special episode of Style by God, Style for a Purpose tonight. And I have with me two very special people, Van and Janelle Watkins. I've known them for years and they have a very, very special story to share tonight. So basically, I'll just start off by sharing how we all met or got to know each other was through church. Yeah, we all
at the church.
Working at the church, and yeah. So that's how I think I knew you 1st, and then I met Van.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Stan met you first.
Stan met me first.
Yeah.
Because we would talk about the Falcons.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and we would see each other in the lobby and talk sports. Yeah.
So that's how it all got started. And where's your mic? So I want to make sure people. Oh, okay, you good. Okay,
That's good. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's good. Okay, so anyway, so I've known them for several years, and if y'all remember, I did an interview with Janelle back in March, and we were sharing her story and her journey with natural hair and what she's been doing as far as ministry for women. And tonight we're going to share Van's story. Van he runs the business. He's the owner of VS Champion, which is a t-shirt print and custom apparel company, and he prints my shirts, Style by God shirts. So basically how this all came about with me wanting to interview them this evening was that one day I came by to pick up some shirts that Van had printed out for me, and so I was sharing with him about the recent loss of my Style by God for Men spokesmodel, Chevalier Paul. And in my sharing that story with him, I was sharing with him, Shay was tragically killed, murdered back in July. So I was sharing with Van about that. And Van just began to tell me that, that's what happened to me. And I've known Van for years, and I've known he's been in the wheelchair, but I never questioned it.
Yeah.
So that day Van just began to share his story with me, and I was just truly amazed by it, because there's so much to it on so many levels, not just what's on the surface of what happened physically, but as well as spiritually. So I just knew that this is a story that needed to be shared and told and heard by everyone, because it will definitely take you to a new level of faith and hope and just wow. So Van, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor and let you share and start off how you want, and just tell us about that day when it all happened for you.
Okay. All right. I was telling you that day when we got to talking about your friend. Basically, I think you said he was shot, and that's how. And so it reminded me of what happened with me. Unfortunately, he passed, and we believe he went home to be with the Lord.
Right.
And I was saying, hey, that I could have went home to be with the Lord that day. That was wow. It was in 1994. I think it was April 22nd, 1994. And I in high school, I was a junior in high school, and just regular kid. The only difference is with me at the time, I had just recently got born again. It was the July. I know I got born again in July of '93.
Okay.
So got born again in July of '93. April of '94, I got shot, paralyzed. So less than a year later, after getting born again, I get shot, and that happens. But it was just kind of going back into it. The day that it happened was just just another day at school. After school, I remember it because it was back in those days, Freaknik taking place. You remember, because Janelle and I, we went to high school together.
Okay.
So that was like that Friday, and it was the first that kind of kickoff for the weekend for Freaknik, and everybody was kind of gearing up for it or whatever.
Okay.
Now, I was in church, I was a Christian, but I kind of wanted to go participate a little bit too, to be honest with you, but I was really serious about church and serious about the things of God, but I still was a kid, I was 17 years old, close to being 18, and kind of feeling like I was missing out on some stuff because I was going to school, working, kind of gearing up for, I think it was spring league basketball, and was trying to, get some things together with Dad, and had talked to the coach and everything, and he was just like, okay, well, come out and play. So I think a week before I had just played in a spring league basketball game, and and I was kind of feeling like, go home. And so the guy that dropped us off, he was like, hey, this is as far as I can take you, I got something else to do. So as we're walking, the friend's house that we were going to, he said, well, I'll give you a ride home as soon as we get to the house, because I can get the car, I'll just give you a ride home. So as we're walking, I hear a voice speak to me and say, walk home. And I was kind of like, wow, I thought it was just the three of us, because it was me and my other two friends. We were walking, and they're right beside me, and I hear maybe, it sounds like a man's voice that says walk home, like behind me, or like kind of in my ear. And I looked back and I didn't see anyone. I was like, man, I just heard somebody say walk home. So I kind of brushed it off, and then I heard it again. And I said, hey, did you all hear that? Did you all hear? And they were like, no, hear what? And I said, you didn't hear a man say walk home? And it was like, no. And I said, I know what I just heard. I heard a voice, a man's voice that said walk home. And so, kids, they were kind of teasing me like, oh, man, you crazy, man. You hearing voices and stuff. And I was just like, dude, I think I'm going to walk home. So, and it would have maybe taken about 25, 30 minutes to walk home, maybe. But, driving, it might have taken maybe 2-3 minutes to get home from where I was at the time. So friend was like, well, look, man, I'm going to give you a ride home. Why would you walk home when I'm going to give you a ride home? I'm going in the house. I'm going to get the keys. I'll run you to the house, and we'll hook up later. It don't make sense to walk home. And I was just like, I know it don't make sense, but I'm hearing walk home, man. I think I'm going to walk home. And so then I heard it again. So I ended up hearing this voice three times. The third time, I was about to just walk home, and then they basically just talked me out of it. And I started thinking, I was just like, it don't make sense, but I know what I'm hearing. And I just kind of just brushed it off. I said, you know what, forget it. We'll go to the house. And I just brushed it off. I didn't hear it anymore after that. So we went to his house. Got to the house, and what was supposed to happen, or what we thought was going to happen, was his dad was going to be there, because his dad, I think, if I recall correctly, his dad used his car because he drove to school every day. But something was going on, if I'm not mistaken, with his dad's car, so he had to use his car. And he said, well, my dad used my car today, so he should be home by now off work, so I'll just run in and get the keys. Well, we got there. No car. His dad's not there. So he said, hey, he should be home in a while, so let's just wait for a minute. We went in and, just waited, watched TV. We're thinking we'll probably wait maybe 30 minutes tops. Well, those 30 minutes turned into about 3 hours. And his dad
Wow.
never showed up.
Wow.
Don't know what happened to his dad. So we're sitting there and just kind of, watching TV, joking around and stuff. And as I was sitting there, I just, I felt this, the best way to describe it is I felt like this evil, thick presence come in the house. And the atmosphere was normal, nothing out of the ordinary at all. And all of a sudden I just feel this presence come in. And it's like I feel something, and it's like I could sense it. It's whatever it is, it's like it's evil, and it was real thick. I didn't see anything. It's just that I could just feel it. If I could describe it, it was like a cloud that floated in. I didn't see a cloud, but that's the only thing that I can kind of think of. It's like this gray cloud that just came in, and it seemed like it came from like the door. It just came in, and I could feel it slowly just kind of coming in.
Wow.
And the it's like when it came in, it just kind of just filled the room, and I could feel it. I was like, man, something just came in this house. Something came in this house. And I didn't say anything. I was checking him and the other two guys out to see if they were going to say something, and they were acting normal. They was just like, watching TV, nothing. And I'm like, okay.
Now, how long had you been in the house by this time when you felt the presence?
Maybe about 3 hours.
Okay.
Because we were sitting there waiting, and just kind of wasting time, and before 3 hours had gone by. So. At that point, I was like, okay, I got real uncomfortable, and I was like, okay, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. Something just came in this house. I didn't plan on being here this long anyway, and I knew I was the only one that felt it. I could tell, just like I was the only one that heard the voice. So I remember I asked him. I said, "Hey, man, look, I gotta go. I've been waiting here too long. I'm walking home." And he was just like, yeah, man, I get it, man. My dad, I don't know where he is and what's taking him so long, man. Man, I hate you got to walk home, but, it's all good. I'll just holler at you later. I said, okay. I said, hey, let me use your bathroom. Let me use your bathroom, and then I'm out. So I went and used the bathroom. I came out the bathroom, and it was like a hallway. As soon as I walked out of the bathroom, it was like a bedroom directly across from the bathroom, and it was a door, and he had the door open, and it was like I guess a dresser or something, and I saw him fumbling around in the dresser. So we're standing in the hall. Well, I'm in the hall, and he's in the doorway of the bedroom, and I was just like, I said, hey, what's up, man? What you looking for? What's going on? I'm about to go. What you looking for? And he just turned around and he pointed a gun at me and just put it right in my face. And he was giggling, he thought it was funny or whatever. And I said, I was like, hey, man, you stop, don't point that gun at me, man, stop playing or whatever. And so he just, he thought it was funny. Just.
Were you concerned if the gun was loaded at that time? Or
yeah, because the gun, he put the gun in my face like maybe this close to my face.
Oh, wow.
Because he just put it in my face like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's loaded or not. I just know it's a gun in my face. So I was like, man, look, dude, don't put that gun in my face. You need to put that back, man. Don't put the gun in my face. And he was laughing, you scared. And he's just giggling. So, and I remember I looked him in the eyes, and it was like, and he probably doesn't even know this or even aware of this. But I looked him in the eyes, and it was like,
wow.
It was like he was. It wasn't like the same person. Like, I mean, this guy I've been knowing since the 6th grade at this point. So we met each other when we were like 12 years old. We were good friends. He was, good guy, And when I looked at him, I said, man, this dude, something ain't right. And he was giggling, but I looked at him, and it was just like he was. To me, he was gone. And it was somebody else.
Wow.
And I remember backing up, and I was walking backwards, and he was pointing the gun at me, and the other guy was just sitting in there watching TV. So when we made it to the living room, he said, what's wrong with you? And I said, man, he got a gun. And he came in and he pointed the gun at him. And so when he pointed at him, he got scared. He was like, hey, stop pointing the gun at me or whatever. And so I remember we ran into his kitchen and we were trying to hide behind each other. We was like, I was trying to get behind him and we was like trying to shield, use each other as a shield. And the dude thought it was just so funny. And he was pointing the gun from me to him, just like this. And y'all scared. And I mean, it was like, so I'm thinking, I said, man, I got to try to take the fun out of this for him because he thinks this is a joke. This is fun. Yeah. And I looked at the gun and I was like, okay, I got to calm down. Let me see what I can do here. And I looked at the gun and I was like, I know what kind of gun that is because my cousin had one like it. I said, what is that, a 357? And he said, yeah. And I said, yeah, my cousin got a 357, man. I said, but his is like the little snub nose short one or whatever. He had the one he had was a long barrel. And so I said, yeah, my cousin has a short barrel or whatever. And he was just like, yeah, this is my dad gun, man. And I said, hey, can I see it? And so he gave it to me. He gave me the gun, put the gun in my hand, and immediately I unloaded it. It was a revolver. I unloaded it, had the bullets in one hand, and I pulled the trigger a few times, and I clicked it, and I was like, hey, it's a nice gun. Yeah, I'm thinking, okay, we're cool now. It's over. Right. He had his little fun. Let me give him the gun back, and I can go. So I gave him the gun back, and I gave him the bullets in the other hand. I put it in the other hand, and he started loading the gun back up, and that didn't really alarm me when he loaded it because I figured it's his dad's gun. So he's just putting it back. It was loaded, so he's putting it back the way he found it so his dad won't know he ever had it. So I'm thinking, okay, it's over now. And I'm like, all right, let me, get out of here or whatever. And then he was just like, where you going? And he pointed it back. And I was just like, oh my God, man, come on, man. And he was just like, yeah, you scared and stuff. And then me and the other guy, we both were just like, man, I know how I felt, and I'm sure the other guy felt the same way. Like, this is like a bad dream, man. Like, I'm trapped in this house because I was like about to walk towards the door, and he points the gun back at me. So then now I'm freezing because I'm like, I don't want him to shoot me in the back. Yeah. Trying to scare me or something. So that's why I didn't just go. I'm thinking now I should have just ran out the door. But at the time, I'm thinking, man, I don't want him to just shoot or something. And so I remember. It was a leather recliner, kind of sitting right in front of the TV, and he walked off like he was going to put the gun up, and he would turn around and point it again. And so when he got in front of the chair, we just ran and dived behind the chair because we was just like, I got to find something to hide behind it. And so we were on our knees, and he was standing in front of the chair. And he was pointing the gun at the chair. And we were talking to him, just said, hey, man, please put the gun up. Dude, this is not funny. You need to put this gun up, man. And I told the other guy, I said, man, he thinks this is a game, man. And so he said, he was just like, yeah, y'all scared. Yeah, y'all down on your knees, you scared. And he cocked the hammer back on the gun. And when he cocked the hammer back, and me and the other guy, we was like, oh my God. So we were really scared then. He was just like, oh, y'all really scared now. So it's just like levels. And he's just getting a kick out of how scared we are. Wow. And so all I remember after that was I'm on my knees, and the other guy it's like the chair, and I'm right next to the chair, and the other guy is no. Actually, it's him, the chair, him, and then me. So we're both on our knees looking around the chair and talking to him, and he cocks the hammer back, and next thing I know, the gun goes off. And when it went off, he dropped the gun. He immediately just dropped it, and he was like, oh my God, what did I do? And at first I couldn't hear anything because it was ringing. The gun, it was such a loud shot because it's a 357. It's one of the most powerful handguns you can have or whatever. So it's just this ringing in my ears, and I'm like, man, I can't believe he actually shot the gun. But then I started thinking, man, I ain't dead. Because I'm like, I know he was pointing the gun at the chair.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to kind of just process everything. And I'm on my knees, and he's now, after it went off, now he's like, oh God, you know,
It's
man.
kind of like he snapped out of it.
It's like he snapped out of it. Yeah. It's like he snapped out of it. He was like, oh my God, man, y'all all right? Y'all all right? And so I'm just like, wow. You know, I'm just still sitting there just trying to process it. And the other guy got up, and he's standing there, and I'm still on my knees just thinking, like, wow, I can't believe this. So I just happened to notice the other guy, he was standing there, and he was just like, man, I can't feel my pinky. Like my hand, it's a part of my hand, I can't feel it. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, and he's doing this. And then I just happened to look, and I'm seeing blood running down his arm. And then I looked, and I see a hole in his arm, and you can see the hole, and it's like a, you know, on both sides. And I said, wow, you shot. And it was like right in his forearm, and he said, he was like, what? And he looked, and then when he saw the blood, he started panicking. And my first thought was actually, I got mad and I wanted to fight the other guy for shooting him. Because I was just like, you shot him playing. I told you to stop playing with the gun. You shot him. So I tried to get up because I actually was going to fight him.
Wow.
I actually was going to fight him for shooting him because at that point, I'm like, man, this is just crazy. Now, both of these are friends, good friends of mine. And when I tried to get up, I couldn't get up. I tried to get up, and it's just, you know, like, okay, I'm just, you know, you just, when you try to get up, you just get up.
It's
nothing,
up,
you don't even think about it. You just get up.
Right.
And I'm trying to get up, and I'm like, okay, I can't get up. So I kind of turned over and sat up, and I'm looking, and everything looks normal. I'm just sitting there, and the other guy the guy that shot us, he ran over, and he was just like, what's wrong? Why can't you get up? And I was like, I don't know. And so he grabbed a towel for the other guy, gave him so he could put it on the wound. And he was just like, man, I got to call 911. I'm going to jail. My daddy gonna kill me. You know, he was just like, man. And I said, hold on, y'all help me get up. Just help me get up. So they both tried to pull me up. And I'm like, I can't get up for whatever reason. I said, just leave me alone. And so that's when the other guy that was shot, he looked, and he was just like, oh my God, man, you got blood all over your back. And I was like, what? Because I'm not in any pain. I'm not in any pain. I feel normal considering the circumstances. I feel normal, but I just can't get up. And he said, blood is on your back. And then he came, and if I remember correctly, I think he grabbed my hand, and he was just like, you know, you got blood, and it's kind of like pouring out, like half of your back or whatever. And I touched it. I looked, and it had a handful of blood. And so we kept kind of feeling around and we found the bullet wound, and I actually found it and kind of felt the hole. I said, wow. I said, dude, you shot me. And at that point, I'm starting to panic now. And then that's when the pain kicked in. Now all of a sudden, now that I know I'm shot, my back was just pain. All of a sudden I'm in pain. I can't get up. I'm panicking. And I was looking at him, and I was just like, you need to help me. You shot me. Help me. And I'm kind of like almost hysterical. I'm like, you need to help me. You shot me. You did this to me. Help me. And I remember the look in his face, and he's standing over me, and he's looking helpless. Like, and then all of a sudden, and now this time, I didn't hear a voice like I heard when we were walking to his house. Because the voice that I heard walking to his house was almost like it was an audible voice. Like I could hear, like I can hear you. And now I was already born again, so you know, I know how it is when God speaks to you. It's like you can hear it on the inside, and it may kind of come to you, a thought come to you or something, and you know, okay, that's God speaking, whatever. I mean, if you spend enough time with God, you kind of start to know when God is speaking. You know, but I never heard God like that. But now at this point, I didn't hear an audible voice. I just heard it on the inside like normal. And I heard, I'm the only person that knows how you feel. He can't help you. I'm the only one that can help you. I'm the only one that knows how you feel. And I said, oh yeah.
Wow.
Okay. And then I started praying, and I remember, learning at church. I mean, even though I was a teenager, I didn't go to the teen ministry. I went into with the adults because I mean, I felt like they don't have nothing for me. I mean, the neighborhood that I came up in, and then with my family situation, I'm like, whatever they teach in the teen ministry is bubble gum. I mean, it's just my environment. I'm like, I need, so thank God for that.
Yeah.
Not to say that they didn't do any good teaching in the teen ministry, but I mean, we was at, at World Changers and Pastor Dollar, and I remember him, and he was teaching faith. And that's when I came into the things of God. I came in knowing the first things that I learned was your words have power.
Yeah.
You have authority. And I remember one of the first things that I learned from church was, and I remember Pastor teaching this, your words cause conception. And all of this stuff, and it's a scripture that says the Holy Ghost, he'll bring things back to your remembrance, the word of God and things that were taught. So all this stuff started coming back. I'm starting to hear messages, and I'm starting to remember scriptures, and all this stuff is starting to come up. And I know this ain't me. And at that point, I started praying in tongues. I started praying in the Spirit. Thank God I had received the baptism of the Holy Ghost.
Right.
With the evidence of praying in tongues, because I couldn't pray a prayer.
Right.
I wasn't in my right mind enough to even pray something to say, Lord, help me, I need to pray out of my spirit. And I just started praying in the Spirit, and I was praying loud. I mean, I was praying, but the more I prayed, it was like a combination of peace and power. I felt it's a scripture in Philippians that says God will give you peace that passes all understanding. I felt that peace. Like that's not just a scripture. That's real. I was like, I went from being hysterical and feeling like I was gonna lose my mind to feeling like it's okay, I'm good.
Wow.
And I'm just praying in the Spirit, and as I'm praying, it's like I just feel this peace just coming in, and it's building me up. And the more peaceful I feel, the more powerful I feel. And I went from feeling helpless to feeling like I was in total control.
Wow. And
it just, my mindset changed. And I remember looking at them, and the guy who shot us, he called 911. He said, I called 911, ambulance on the way. But then remember, this Freaknik. So you got traffic and road, just traffic everywhere in the city. So it's hard to get anywhere. So, but I mean, I wasn't thinking about that until later on. But so I remember at this point I'm calm. I'm just like, oh, I'm good, man. He gave me a towel. I'm holding it on my back, and just and I'm like, okay, And I remember I started just speaking the word over myself and just speaking faith, and I was like, okay, I need to just declare what the word says. Not how I feel, even though I started feeling good at that point. And I started saying, look, I shall live and not die. I'm healed by the stripes of Jesus. I will walk again. And I remember looking at him and the other guy, and I said, look, this is not the end of me. I will walk again.
Wow.
I will walk again. I'm getting up and I'm walking. I was just like, I don't care about all this stuff. I'm getting up and I'm walking. And I said, I'm healed. And I'm not going to die. So, and then I remember asking him, I said, where's your phone? I got to call my grandma, because I know I should have been home. And he said, oh, well, the phone is over there on the other side of the room, and it won't reach over here. I said, it's all right. I dragged myself over there, and I dragged myself to the phone.
Really?
And called her.
Wow.
And she picked the phone up, and my grandmother, we called her.
Now, were you still in any pain, or what?
I could feel the pain, but it wasn't really.
But it wasn't.
It was tolerable. Matter of fact, I remember telling him and the other guy at that point, I remember telling them, I said, you know what? Because the other guy said, man, how do you feel? How does it feel? I said, it's hurting. I said, but to be honest with you, it ain't no worse than if you playing basketball. People who play basketball would know what I'm talking about. Like if you go up or something for a layup and somebody kind of bends over and they set a breathe, you flip over their back and hit the ground. That hurts. That's some pain when you hit the ground. I said that hurts worse. I said so I've dealt with worse. I said I dealt with worse. I'll be okay.
Wow.
I dealt with worse.
Wow.
And the other guy was looking at me, shaking his head like, "Man, you crazy." And I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "I'm telling you, man." I said, I'm good. I got God. Let me just." And so I called my grandmother, and I remember when she answered the phone. We used to call her Big Mom. I said, "Big Mom," and I remember she was like, the first thing she said was, "Boy, bring your blankety blank home. You're supposed to go to the store for me and all this stuff." And I said, "No, I ain't gonna make it home." She said, "Why?" I said, "Well, I just got shot." And I'm trying to say it so she won't
panic.
But, I said, "I just got shot." And she didn't believe me. She said, "You need to stop playing." I said, "No, seriously, I just got shot." And she was like, "Shot?" And I told her who did it and where I was at. And then she started crying. And when she started crying, I started panicking again. I got upset. Because just to hear her voice and what she was going through, and I was like, man. And then I started panicking, and fear came in. It was like this fear, and so I threw the phone down, and I said, I started praying, and so I started praying in the spirit again. And as I started praying, it's like the peace just came right back in. So I kind of figured it.
Wow.
As long as I'm praying, I'm okay. I'm good. Right, I got control over the situation. I'm not in fear if I'm praying, and I'm okay. Yeah. So at that point I just kept praying, and we just sat there waiting on the ambulance to come. Phone up, and he was like, "Van, where are you at?" And I told him, and then my aunt that lived with us, she knew the guy that shot me, because she would sometimes take us places or stuff, so she knew exactly where he lived. And he was just like, he said, you got shot? And I said, "Yeah." And he started laughing, and he said, "What, did you get grazed or something?" And I said, "No, I got more than grazed, man." I said, "I got more than grazed." I said, he shot me in the back. And man, I can't feel my legs, man. I can't feel nothing from my waist down. I'm just sitting here. I can't get up. I can't do nothing.
Wow. And
he was just like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What did he shoot you with?" I said, "A gun just like yours." He said, "He shot you with a 357? I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I'll be over there in a minute." Next thing you know, I don't know. It didn't take long for them to get over there. Him and my aunt came, and then the paramedics came, and by the time they came, I'm still praying. I'm just praying, and I remember it was kind of funny. Now they were checking me out and stuff, and asking what happened, and the police came, paramedics, and I remember the paramedics asking me, and I guess this is just kind of routine. They were asking me, "Well, what time is it?" And I'm just, I'll stop praying to answer their question, and I go back to praying again. And it was like, "Okay, what time is it?" And I was just like, I think I said, what, let me see, where's the clock? It was like, look, oh, okay. And I remember being like 7 something, 7:30, somewhere 7 o'clock hour. And then they said, "How old are you?" And I told them, "Well, what's your name? What's your date of birth? And who's the president?" I said, "Bill Clinton is the president. It's 1994. I said, "Man, look, I didn't get shot in the head, man. I got shot in the back. Just take me to the hospital and take this bullet out, man, so I can get up." And they were like, "Okay, he's sound-minded, okay," and stuff. And that was pretty much it. We ended up, getting in an ambulance. And I remember the other guy. They was sticking us with a lot of needles and stuff. And the other guy who got shot, they was sticking him, and he got mad because he was like, it was funny. He said, "Man, all these needles hurt worse than it did when I got shot. Y'all stop sticking me with these needles and stuff. And I remember telling, I said, you need to stop crying. I said, you need to stop crying about this. I said, I got shot in the back. You just got, you should be able to, you just stop crying. He was like, man, something wrong with you, man. And we was in the ambulance, and I said, and so, it was I never lost consciousness or anything. It was a long night. We ended up, I remember the ride to we went to Grady, and it was freaking traffic. We were stuck in traffic.
Wow.
And I'm still losing blood. And they got something holding it or whatever, but it was, I remember them talking, the paramedics saying, man, all this traffic, man, this is the worst time for this. And we got there, and I remember going into the emergency room, and I remember someone next to me. It was, I remember hearing some people crying, sound like their family, and I think somebody died next to me. And I remember the doctors checking me out and looking at the bullet wound, and I recall the doctor saying, because I was, I worked out all the time and stuff. I remember hearing they had me turn over my stomach, and one of the doctors said, I don't understand how a bullet of this caliber just stopped. This bullet should have kept going. And they're just like having a discussion over me. And then one doctor said, well, he looks like he's in really good shape. It was like, look, he has a lot of like muscles in his back. He's just real muscular. So maybe the muscles stopped it. And I remember I told him, I said, it ain't that many muscles in the world. God stopped that. And it was like, what? And I was just, I just had to say it because I'm like, I need y'all to know,
right.
It's God, and so, later on, I don't know what time it was an Asian doctor, a young guy. He came to me after I think they put stitches in it, and he explained to me, he said, well, the bullet did all the damage that it's going to do. I said, okay, you're going to take it out? He said, no, we're not going to take it out. He said, it's in your spinal cord. We're not going to take it out because it's just too dangerous to try to remove it if we don't have to. He said, if we had to, we would. But if we don't have to, we don't mess with your spinal cord at all, because we could make a mistake and you could be paralyzed maybe from the chest down or from the neck down. And he said, the bullet is there and it's not moving. And he said, and unfortunately, I got to tell you, you're not going to walk again. And I said, no, I don't believe that. And he was like, no, I got to tell you. I said, no, I don't believe it because I'm healed by the stripes of Jesus. That's why I don't believe that. I said, I will walk again. I said, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for everything. I appreciate it. I said, but I'm good. I will walk, and I appreciate it. So, okay.
Yeah.
And he said, as long as and he explained how the spinal cord works and the spinal column and the nerves and etc. And he kind of told me how everything works and how the bullet, what it did, and it severed the spinal cord. And I was just like, okay, I get it, but you're not God.
Right.
And he said, you're right. You're right. And that was it. And the rest was, sitting in the hospital and then going to therapy and went to Shepherd Spinal. Well, at the time it was Shepherd Spinal Center. Now it's just the Shepherd Center, and
So it sounds like through all of this, you just your faith just remained consistent, except for a couple of moments that you felt yourself beginning to panic, but you would get back in control, start praying in the Spirit.
Yeah.
Now, even so, after going through the hospital and getting the news and all that, what was the process like for you then, emotionally and spiritually, after getting the news from the doctors that you?
It didn't bother me, to be honest. It really didn't bother me because I had friends that had died or been killed before. Some people that went to school with us, went to high school with us, some people from our neighborhood. So I mean, my first thing is I'm alive. I got friends that didn't make it to like C16, some of them. So I'm still here. And then I know what the word says, so that's what I'm believing. And then I thought back on it, and I was just like, it really. And Janelle, she'll tell you this, and I say this all the time. After it happened, I've had some people come to me and say, a few people, not many, but a few people, well, maybe God was trying to teach you something. And I'm like, no, God wasn't trying to teach me something.
Right.
God didn't mean for that to happen.
Right.
God actually is true to his word. When the word says, God says, I will direct your path. I will show you the way that you need to go and lead and guide you into all truth. That's exactly what he did. I made a decision not to obey or to listen or take heed. That was my decision. And because we're not robots, God is not going to make you do anything.
Right.
But God did exactly what his word was saying. And I was his son that he was trying to protect. He saw something that was about to take place. The funny thing is, that day, I could have called the MARTA bus home. I had $30 in my pocket. You know, somebody offered me a ride home earlier. A girl, she offered me a ride home. Another classmate, her mom picked her up, and I didn't accept that ride. So I had opportunities to not be there. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it was because of a decision that I made, not because God was trying to teach me a lesson or trying to get something over to me.
Right.
It was because God actually told me 3 times, walk home. Now, had I walked home, I never would have experienced it, wouldn't have known what trap was set or anything.
Right.
So it made me trust God more, because I was like, all I got to do now is just listen to God. That's it. I get it now. You know, this is real.
Right. Yeah, it is real. And there was something else that you had shared with me when you first told me about this, and you were saying that you had just your other friend that got shot. You had been ministering to him a couple of days before.
Well, for the last few weeks before that, even months, we would sometimes we would go to different gyms to go play basketball. And so we pile up in the car and we go, and on the way there, sometimes I would talk to them about church. And then it was getting kind of tired of me talking about church, because it was just like, dude, I want the old van back, because all you do is you talk about church and stuff. I want the old van. I was just like, I ain't the old van, man. I'm telling you, man, y'all need to get with this church thing for real. It was like, I go to church. I said, no, I ain't talking about just going to church. I mean, for real. Give your life to Jesus for real. For real. Going to church, you can go to church and not know Jesus at all. I'm like, you need to. I gave my life to Christ, and I know there's a difference. I'm not the same person. Right. And so I would try to minister to him, and he would literally cuss me out sometimes. Don't talk to me about no blankety blank church no more. But what was funny, I think it was the day before, or maybe a couple of days before this happened, that day we got shot, he came up to me and he was just like, man, I think I want to go to church with you. Wow. And I was like, for real? And he was just like, yeah, I want to go to church with you.
Wow.
Now, I haven't talked to him in years. The last time I saw him, he was doing good, and I ran into his younger brother. And a few other people told me he's pastoring now.
Look at God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the enemy was really trying to stop something.
Yeah. He knew more and saw more in me than what I could see in myself. I don't really believe that Satan knows your future, but I do believe that he has experience with people. He's been dealing with us since Adam. So it's just like experience. It's just like if you were, let's say if you played football or basketball or something, and you saw a kid playing, he has it. He has it. That kid right there, he's going to be something special. Satan knows. Everybody has a call in their life, but Satan knows certain people. I recognize it, and I got to stop him before he can even discover it. I need to take him out.
Wow.
I mean, I was 17. I was just a baby, really. A kid, not knowing it. What I was called to do. I just knew I was excited about the new lifestyle.
Yeah. Wow. So fast forwarding to you and Janelle. So you all knew each other in high school.
Yeah.
And then okay. So you and Janelle knew each other in high school, and then somehow you all had parted ways, and then you ended up connecting again years later.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
I left the state of Georgia after high school, and then God led me to come back home from school, and I ended up joining World Changers. And so we met each other again back at church. And I was, I think, going there maybe about 2 years or so, and we really didn't even run into each other.
Wow.
And it was through a friend that invited us to her Bible studies. We started going to Bible studies.
Yeah.
But we just ended up being friends. We, it was nothing. We didn't think anything about what we have now. So yeah, we started just basically it was just because of church we ran into each other again.
Now, when you ran into him, did you know what had happened to him?
I knew.
Okay.
I knew because I remember the day in high school, and I remember how. All the students, all the classmates, everybody was upset at school. And my initial thought was, and I wasn't in church the way I am now, I just remember thinking, well, he'll walk again. Really? That was my initial thought because my grandmother used to take me to go pray for the sick.
Okay.
So I always knew that God was a healer. So that had just been in me ever since I was a child. And so I can't remember who it was, but one of my classmates was like, oh, he got shot. And I said, well, don't worry, he'll walk again. I'm just thinking he will walk again. That was just my initial thought. But we lost, we never really communicated in school. We just, it was just a hey and bye kind of thing,
Yeah.
That
we would speak. And,
right.
Yeah.
Nothing major. So when I ran back into him again in church, it was the same thought, well, God is a healer. So that was just it.
Wow.
Yeah. I think about 2 years went by when we first ran into each other at church. And it seems like periodically we would see each other at church.
Okay.
Every once in a while, hey, how's it going? What's up? But then all of a sudden we started running into each other like almost every week. And then we would talk, and we've been live talking and stuff. And at that point I was just like, okay. Yeah.
So what was that like? You said, okay, so you started recognizing that you were feeling something more. I
liked her in high school.
Okay.
I liked her, but it was nothing more than, oh man, I like her, she's cool or whatever. But it wasn't anything. So when we ran back into each other and started talking, it was really the first time we were really getting to know each other for real. Because in high school we would just have like, look, hey, what's up, what's going,
Yeah.
But now we're starting to talk.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Okay.
We would talk about the word and just talk or whatever and stuff. And I was, like, okay, I would like to ask her for a number, but I don't want her to, get the wrong impression. So,
and what was funny about it was, at that point in time, I just told God, I'm not dating anymore. I'm done.
Oh, really?
And if anybody from church would ask me for my number, I would just immediately shut them down. Like they would know not to ever ask me for my number again. So that was the stage I was in.
What brought that on? Was it
just because of failed relationships in the past, and I knew I was making mistake after mistake after mistake, and I just said, God, you know what? This time I'm just going to completely surrender and give you my life, and I'm done. So I wasn't thinking about dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when did the moment come where you finally broke down and said, let me have your number, or what?
Yeah. I mean, because at the time I had been in a few other relationships, and I know right from wrong and everything, and it's just like, this ain't really God, it's just this. And I was like, okay, you know what? I really want to get in the will of God for my life, and I want to get married. So I just I pretty much cut everything out, and I started just really spending a lot of time with God. And I was like, okay, I'm just happy with me and God. I really was. I was happy with me and God.
Y'all were kind of like in the same place then, at that time. Okay.
Yeah. And it was like, okay, I'm happy. I don't have to be in a relationship, but I want one. I want to be married, but I don't have to be with anyone. So I can wait, Lord. You show me the person, however, And it what's funny is well, going back to what you asked, we would talk, and just every time we would see each other at church or after church, we would talk. So I remember one night I had a few guys that rode to church with me, and you had a few friends around you. So some kind of way we ended up in like a group, and we were in the lobby just talking. And it's so funny because she was just like, okay, well, I'll talk to you later. I'm getting ready to go. Her and one of her girlfriends, they were leaving and stuff. And so I got like about 3 or 4 dudes just standing there with me. And then I heard ask her for a number. I heard it in my spirit. I knew it was God. Ask her for a number. And then here I go again thinking, no, I don't want her to think the wrong thing, even though I really want a number, but I don't want her to think the wrong thing. And she was getting ready to walk off. And this is exactly how I heard it. Don't let her walk off without asking for her number. Just like that. And so as she was about to walk off, I said, hey, let me get your number, man. Because we talk all the time, man. I mean, and I enjoy talking to you and stuff, man. Let me get your number so we can just, talk some more and stuff, man, because this is just too short. So she was like, okay, yeah. She just wrote it down and like on an envelope or something. And I was just like, dang, that was easy. All right. Should have did that a long time ago. And so, and I remember after that, we talked on the phone, and I think we talked pretty much like every night. And oh yeah, the part with the Bible studies though, that was
right. So.
And it's like 2 parts to it.
Oh,
how God was doing stuff.
I think by the time we started going to the Bible study, that's when God started really dealing with me.
Okay.
And my friends at the time that were hosting the Bible study, they were like, asking, okay, so what's going on with you and Van? I said, oh, girl, that's just my friend. And, I would just totally brush it off because I just didn't even think. And it was one particular night that God just began to really speak to me about Van, about him being my husband, about the call that he has on his life, and all the stuff that he's going to do. And so I remember saying to God, he's not doing any of this stuff that you said he's doing. So because for women, we're told, okay, the man has to have all the cars, the house, the degrees, the money, everything. And so, for God to say, this is your husband. So now I have to see him, but I have to see also what God is saying about him.
Yeah.
And so I remember that night like it was yesterday, because I think at the end of that night I didn't say too much to Van because I had too much on my mind.
Yeah, she didn't really say too much at all, and it was kind of I kind of took it the wrong way. But what was funny was I had I think what was it, like the week leading up to that, we were talking. We would we had been talking maybe on the phone for about maybe a month or so, maybe. And the week leading up to it, we didn't talk because she invited me. She invited me to the Bible study, and I said, okay, yeah, I'll come or whatever. She was like, it'll be next Saturday or whatever. And so I was like, okay. So we talk every night. All of a sudden, I'm not here. But now at that point, I didn't call her. And I know why I didn't call her, because I was like, okay, I'm really starting to like her, and I don't want to get my feelings and stuff in this, and this ain't God. So I told God, I said, look, Lord, I told you for real. That's how I talked to God. I was like, look, for real, the next woman that I date will be my wife, and if this is not my wife, I'm not gonna. We can stop this right now. I like her, but I ain't desperate. I just need to be in the will of God. That's it. Yeah. And so, but God was dealing with me like, and I talked to somebody else about it. It was like, I said, yeah, I got to hear that though. I got to really hear that though, for real. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to even call her. I'm just going to go to this thing Saturday. Next Saturday I go to this Bible study. And then after that, that's it, because I don't want to move forward and and this goes somewhere and I miss it. But what was funny was I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna stop calling her, And I already got in my mind when she called me, I'm gonna talk to her for a minute. I'm just, hey, I'm gonna holler at you later or whatever. I'll talk to you, No, the phone didn't ring. And I'm like, whoa, what's up? She ain't calling me.
Because I was going through the same thing.
She going through the same thing, and I don't know it. So now, I'm like, hold on. She ain't calling me. I know I ain't calling her, but why she ain't calling me? So I picked the phone up and called her. And she brushed me off. She brushed me off. Right? She was just like, yeah, okay, well, all right. Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you later. I said, okay, bet. Yeah. Okay. See, that's exactly what I thought. That's why I ain't finna get in this. I ain't finna do all that. I'm gonna go on and just go to this little Bible study Saturday, and I'm done. And so I went to the Bible study, and I remember when it was at a hotel. Came in, she saw me coming, and she came to the door and walked me into the meeting room where they had it, and she was sitting across from me. And so now, as she's sitting across from me, they, everybody is like and I think we were like in our early 20s at the time. And so everybody was in their age group or whatever, which was really good. It was really good. And I'm listening to everybody, I'm getting a lot out of it, but then I'm still checking her out. And she's sitting across from me, and she got her legs crossed and this little skirt on. And I'm just like, man, I'm tripping right now, man. And so, Then God spoke to me. I heard it as plain as day. I heard God. She was taking notes. She was writing, and she's looking around, just listening to everybody writing or whatever. And so I'm thinking, she's just taking notes from what's going on here. And then the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, she's writing everything that I'm telling her about you.
Wow.
Now, and I have that notebook to this very day. It's in my mom's house, but I still have it.
He told me, he said she's writing, and she's writing down. She's not taking notes. She's writing. I'm telling her things about you, and she's writing it down. I heard that.
Wow.
And I was just like, and I still second guessed it after that. I was just like, she's taking notes, And so afterwards, when it was all over, she didn't have much to say. Her car was parked a few cars over from mine, so we walked out, and I remember us walking through the parking lot, not talking to each other. And she was like, I remember she said, well, that was very interesting, and I said, yes, it was, but we didn't say why. And she said, okay, all right. And so I just got in my car. Well, she got in her car, and then I got in my car and pulled off. And I remember when I got home, it might have been about 2:00 in the morning, because it was late, and my mom was still up. And she said, well, how was everything? I said, oh, it was good. She said, well, did you see your friend was there? And I said, yeah, she was there. And she said, I said, I want to call her to make sure she got home safe. She said, I think you should do that. I said, yeah, but I said I wasn't going to. She said, I think you should do that. I think you should call her. She said, that would be the right thing to do. You call her and make sure she got home safe. I think she would like that. I remember saying it. And I said, yeah, okay. And I called you. And when you answered the phone, you was like, yeah, I made it. She was real pleasant, And I said, okay, cool. All right, cool. I'll see you at church tomorrow. We get to church the next day. And in the lobby, she coming by. And I'm like, hey, what's up? She was like, oh, I got to go. I'm riding with my mama today, so I'm going to have to talk to you later. And I said, man, see. There it is. See,
brushed you off again.
I'm thinking she brushed me off, but she really did ride to church with her mom. She didn't drive. So, I remember after church that day, I got home and I got out of the chair and I sat on the foot of my bed. And my mom, everybody used to love just sitting in my room, because my room used to be like the den in the house, and it ended up being converted to a bedroom. But everybody would still just come to my room and watch TV and stuff. So my mom is sitting there, and I'm sitting on the bed, and I want to call her. So I picked the phone up, and I'm like, I want to call her so bad. And I'm holding the phone, and I said I wasn't going to call her no more, especially brushing me off today. I ain't calling her no more. And then I heard this. I can't make this stuff up. I heard this. I heard, you don't have to worry about it. You'll be talking to her every day from now on. And the phone rang. And I looked, and it was her. On the call ID, I said, oh. And then, so I'm just sitting here, I'm tripping because I'm looking at the phone, and after I hear this, the phone rings in my hand, and I'm contemplating calling her, and I hear this, and then she calls me, and then I'm sitting here letting the phone ring, and my mom was like, "Fool, answer the phone! What's wrong with you? You just sitting there looking at the phone." So then, we've been talking ever since.
Wow. So what compelled you to call that night?
Well, that was that day after church.
That day after church. Yeah. So,
I just felt like calling.
okay.
I can't say, God just said, make sure you call.
Right.
I just said I'm going to go ahead and call now because I had to kind of come to terms that I was really liking him because I was trying not to.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it was.
So what has the journey been? I know that you all faced some challenges even after you got married and everything with Van's health and all that. So what was that like, and how did y'all get through all that?
We ran into challenges early on after we got married, with Van being sick. And
I didn't start getting sick until after we got married, or right before we got married.
A little bit before.
Like my health was always no problem. I mean, it's just in a wheelchair, but no problem with health, none. And all of a sudden, I started just getting sick. I started out I ended up getting a bed sore right before, a few months before, and it got infected, and I started losing weight because I used to be much bigger, and I started losing weight, and then it was kind of, it was okay, kind of maintaining or whatever. But by the time we got married, I'm dealing with it, and it's an infection going on, and I don't know it, and so I'm losing energy, and can't really. My appetite is some kind of sometimes up and down and stuff, and not knowing it. So it's like from day one we were dealing with just some health challenges.
And our entire walk has been by faith. We had to get married by faith, even when we were thinking. We took premarital classes. We had plenty of counselors around us. God spoke to us about who we needed to ask to marry us, and which was Michael Carter at the time. And he heard from God before I even asked him. So God has always been with us, but to get married took faith.
Wow.
It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna get married, everything's gonna be great. No, we had to believe every single step of the way.
Really?
Yeah.
And even when it looked like, okay, this is not going to happen, we had to go back to what God had told us previously, because that's what anchored us.
Yeah. Because 2 weeks before the wedding, I was in the hospital. 2 weeks before, and I got out, and we going to the other side. Jesus said we're going to the other side. We're going to the other side. We're going to do this. Because to be honest, we tried to kind of push it off.
Right.
A year
We
before.
thought we were crazy.
Really?
Yeah, we tried to push it off. I mean, after all this hearing from God.
And counselors were telling us, "Oh, you're going to be fine." Everything. And we would look at each other. We were expecting people to tell us, "No, this is you don't need to do this."
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like, my money isn't where it needs to be, and everything. So I'm thinking, okay, they'll probably tell us y'all need to wait a little while, and I'm cool with that. We can wait, and because I believe it's God, so we ain't going nowhere. But everybody was like, "No, go ahead," and I'm like, "I'm broke. I ain't got no money, man. So how you gonna tell me to get? I mean, I wouldn't tell me to get married if I was you. Why you telling me to get married?" Everybody was just like, "No." So everything was by faith. Everything was by faith, and so we ended up, we got married, and what was it? About 2 years later, I ended up still dealing with the same thing from before, and it was just I never really healed up. So we got married in 03, and by the time February of 05 came around, I remember she went to the grocery store, and she came back, and she was just like, "Man, I got all this stuff. I got this. I know you like this. I got steaks. I got da 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 da." And I was sitting there feeling like I was gonna pass out, and I was just like, "I can't eat nothing, man." And she was just like, "What you mean you can't eat nothing?" I was just like, "Man, take me to the hospital," because I honestly felt like I don't know if I'll make it another day, and not knowing that I think that was really the case for real. I had kind of gone as far as I could, and if I probably would 24 hours, 48 hours, I probably would have been dead because I had the infection was it was there and it had gotten so bad I couldn't. It was just like I'm just kind of hanging on right now, and so I got to the hospital just in time. So that they could just start giving me antibiotics and stuff and to start fighting it off or whatever. And then, you know, that went from February of 05 all the way to the end of August. I was in the hospital.
Really?
I was in the hospital and came home, had to have surgery. Came home for like, 2 days and had to go back into the hospital because I was just like, I need to be at home. I need to be at home. And so went back to the hospital again, and then they kept me for maybe another month or so, and then I went to a nursing home. So, you know, I'm in my 20s in a nursing home.
Yeah. What was that like? I mean,
it was weird.
It was scary. It was weird.
Yeah.
During that time, that's when I developed having anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
Because the biggest fear was I don't want to be in my house by myself. So here it is. Now I'm in the house by myself, and Van was all the way in Griffin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I would travel on the weekends, and then during the week, you know, we would just talk every day on the phone. And so it was challenging.
Yeah.
It was a strain on us, and
finances.
Right. Worried about finances.
Yeah.
The threat of things happening. It never happened.
Right.
It's just a threat.
It was a threat.
Right.
Yeah, just the threat of
And God literally just walked with me during the entire time.
Okay.
It was almost as if I was single again, but not. Because, you know, when you're single, you have time to, you know, to really just read the word and just pray and do all the stuff that you would normally do. So now my husband's gone. Now I got to get back I'm in this mode of, okay, it's just me and God now. So
yeah,
that's literally where I was at that point, and having to deal with fears. You know, I would go to work, felt like I couldn't tell if I was going to scream or cry at most days. Just emotions, just all over the place. So, you know, back then we didn't talk about mental health.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Now, if that was today, they would have put you on some medication.
Exactly.
Right.
And, you know,
Not to say it's something wrong with medication.
Right.
And then on top of that, it was hard for me to verbalize what I was feeling. You know, just going to girlfriends and nobody can tell you what's going on with you. So it really took me.
Weren't you hearing voices like the enemy telling you he was going to kill you?
Right.
Really?
I would get behind the wheel and I would start hearing, "I'm gonna kill you." You know, I mean, just stuff just started happening, and that was during that time when I picked up The Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer.
Yes.
And to me, that's like my second Bible. And I read that and I began to stand on the word, and I was still going to church, and just, you know, everything that I was getting from the church and from just reading that book, that's how I was able to maintain and overcome.
Okay.
But I had to really fight. It was a fight that I had to stand on and do on my own. And how the word says, you know, you have to fight the good fight of faith, but you still have to fight.
Yeah, you do.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody can do it for you. You know, you have to stand on the word on your own. And I'll never forget how I felt as if Satan didn't want me to break what was on me. The hole and the pressure is the pressures of life, and that's what was really just, you know, the fears, the panic. And I had to keep confessing the word until I was blue in the face. I had to keep saying it over and over and over again, because I knew there was a problem. I'll never forget one time Van was still in the nursing home. You know, being in the dome is large.
Yeah.
So it's people everywhere. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to get up before Pastor releases so I can go to the bookstore, because I don't want to be around a whole lot of people. Well, I ended up being in the bookstore too long, and people started coming in. So I started feeling panicky. I couldn't breathe. I hurried up and ran out of the bookstore. And I knew then, I said, this is going to alter my life if I don't take control of it.
Right.
I have to take authority over this. And so that's when that led to my journey of overcoming anxiety attacks.
Okay. Oh, good.
And just standing on the scriptures.
Yep. It works. It works. I can relate. I totally know exactly what you're talking about.
And I don't share that too often,
Yeah.
you know, but
I don't
and
either,
it's taking steps of making sure I eat right, make sure I exercise, you know, just make sure I speak the word, speak the right things.
Right.
But it came from God helping me.
Yeah, I get it. So here you two are here today, and y'all have come through a lot. And and so, man, we know that you definitely gonna walk again. Yeah. So we look forward to that. Yeah. Wow. Thank y'all so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I just want to commend you, because a lot of times people interview you when the victory comes, you know, when everything you believe in God for has manifested. You don't really get to hear people's, you know, testimony or in the middle of. Because when you ask, I said, why would you want to interview us? You know, we don't have everything that we're believing God for so much still. But I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I had to, because it was just like, regardless of whether anything has manifested yet, it's still a testimony to see you standing in your faith and your commitment that, you know, we're going to see this all the way through, and we're going to see the manifestation of what we're believing God for. So that's still a testimony for somebody, you know. So I had to have you on, because it's just amazing, your story and what you all experienced, the both of you have experienced, you know, and come through, and are still coming through, and you're seeing victory after victory, is what I'm saying. In spite of what tried to stop you, you're still having these victories. So people need to see that and know that.
It's a marathon.
Yes. That's what it is.
It's a marathon. So you keep moving forward, and you know, you just that's the thing. You keep winning, and I think it's more of what you it's your identity. It's really your identity and how you identify yourself. You know,
right?
And that's what we chose to do, is identify ourselves. You know, especially with the times that we live in now, you know, got the nation divided and all this stuff going on. But the one thing that we talk about a lot of times, and we talk and minister to each other and just have conversations and stuff, as believers, don't identify ourselves as I'm African American. No, I'm a believer. I'm a son of God. I'm African American and happy about it, proud to be that, you know, thank God for it. But I'm a believer first. I'm, you know, and so that's, you know, and that's the thing. So as believers, that's what we do. We believe, and we overcome.
That's it.
By the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So, you know, and you endure. And so that's what happens. You endure, you win, and you go from glory to glory. And that has no race or no gender on it. That's you know, that's the characteristics of a son or daughter of God. You know, so that's the thing. So it's like experiencing a lot of the stuff that we've seen and had to happen with us. It's even in the challenges, you still see how, wow, God is still right here. He hasn't moved. And so what's funny is when you come out on the other side, it's just like, I could have made a permanent decision over a temporary circumstance. But now I'm out of that, and I can look back and say, wow, I remember when I went through that. And that's the same thing with this. See, it won't really be that special when I get up and start walking. I mean, it will be, but it won't. Because for me, it's just back to normal.
I get what
it's just back to normal. That's it. I'm just back to normal. And it's just like, okay, I'm back. Love
it.
And so when someone sees me, when I run into someone, they're not going to see me as I'm just going to be another dude walking around. They won't know. They won't know. That's why, like what she was saying, just us being able to say it now, it's like the journey is really where it's at. Because once you get through, it's just like, okay, made it.
Right.
Now we're on to the next thing.
Right. Exactly. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So Van, how can people get in touch with you? Because your business is VS.
Yeah, VS
Champion.
Champion Apparel. You can Instagram VS Champion, Facebook. Even though I need to. And I enjoy doing it. So yeah.
Okay. Yes, he does the Style by God t-shirts, and we have the special burgundy for fall. So just look me up. But anyway, I didn't have a lot of questions tonight, but I just really wanted your story to be heard by everyone, and just for it to be a testimony for our audience so that they could see what faith is. And so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will keep you posted on the next Style by God, Style for a Purpose interview. And so follow my page at Style by God on Facebook, and on Instagram, Style by God for a Purpose. And if you have a story or purpose that you would like to share with me via Facebook Live, then you can reach me at Style by God for Purpose. That's Style by God, the number 4, Purpose, at gmail.com. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Love you. And let me just I'm just going to take a moment here to see who's in watching, and let's see, we got quite a few people here real quick. Oh, let me see. So just take a moment to acknowledge you all. Oh, Joy Juice Grady, she says thank you for the testimony. Denise Armstrong, yes. Oh, she said, can we talk tie shirts too by Van Watkins?
Yeah.
Denise.
Thank you, Minister Denise. Love you.
Tie shirts, okay. And then let's see here, Joy, and but those are the comments, and then we had quite a few people that were viewing, so that's still viewing. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time, and go back and watch it again, okay? All right, bye-bye. Darlene Phillips Miller said, thanks for sharing.
Oh, Darlene.
Yeah.